Welcome to episode 10 of Sweeper and the Keeper. We are your hosts. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Matt. How's everyone doing tonight? Quick shout out to European Sports. For any of your soccer needs, please visit them at any of their 3 locations or online at europeansports.com.
This will be a two-parter little series here with our special guest. Another episode of Sweeping the Keeper. We have a very special guest here today. Unfortunately, Nick was not able to make it. The guy who set this whole interview up for us. Give him a shout out for sure.
Yeah.
But this man was player of the year. He was the offensive MVP and Golden Boot winner in Conference of College. He absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
He was the 47th pick from our place here in Chicago Fire. That was in 2017. Wow, 7 years. 7 years. And he is also nicknamed the mayor of Charlotte FC. What a name.
Current player for Charlotte. We got Brandt Bronico here on the podcast with us. We're so happy he's here.
Glad. Absolutely glad. This is such an honor. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This is awesome.
So how did they coin the mayor of Charlotte FC?
It's actually kind of funny. One of the guys that does the, I guess, like announcing for the local radio, WFNZ, and he announces our games on the radio. He just, I was just everywhere. Like I was like doing stuff in the community, doing appearances, on the field for Charlotte, doing interviews, like stuff, and he's like randomly like, oh, like this is like the mayor of Charlotte, and ever since he said like, oh, like I'm gonna nickname you the mayor, and said it on the radio, I was like, oh, like I kind of like that, like I can roll with that. So I kind of backed it and promoted it some, and he just kept doing it, and it just kind of stuck. So it was kind of a funny story, and the guy, I mean, he's a great dude. But yeah, kind of funny.
Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. I know that you are definitely big into your community, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah. I mean, I love watching, the games now because, with Apple TV, we can watch any game at any time. But all the announcers talking about Bronico, he's like a veteran of the team over at Charlotte. He's a hometown hero almost because, playing college there, playing for the team, you were the third, signed player for the team when it, first came into the MLS. So, I mean, it's definitely a huge honor. And, how does it feel playing for Charlotte? We'll just get that one out of the way. I mean, you guys,
It's
I feel
amazing,
like,
man.
yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead, man.
no, it's a dream come true. Um, kind of funny, like when I, heard that Charlotte was gonna get an expansion team in the league, I like immediately called my agent and I was like, dude, I got to get back there. Like, we got to figure out a way. It's like, okay, just like focus on, your time in Chicago right now. I still had like another year on my deal in Chicago. But I was like, wow, like that would be so sick to go back and play for Charlotte. Because I just have so many friends here, and I grew up like an hour north of Charlotte, so my parents live there. I have so many family and friends in the area and in the state. Um, it just kind of, and like a year later, it just kind of like happened. Like it was like out of nowhere. It was kind of a long shot because Charlotte had to, I guess, delay their start because of COVID, so they pushed it back a year. And I'm like, they still need to sign players. Maybe there's a chance. And Chicago had just declined my option, so I knew I wasn't coming back to Chicago anyway. So I was like, look, I want to go to Charlotte. Like, let's prioritize that. I'll do whatever I got to do to make it happen. And there was some interest on their end, and literally, like literally, they announced it on my wife and I's wedding day that I was the third player signed for Charlotte. So it was just like you couldn't have like written up a story better than that. But yeah, it was just like a crazy process and how it all happened. And I'm grateful to be where I'm at now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I wish you guys would have had a team because I lived in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I
Gotcha.
moved out in 2016 back into Illinois, but man, we were always going up to DC to watch games and stuff. And I would have loved. I mean, we went to Charlotte all the time on every weekend. So I mean, being able to see that team there, but I'm sure. I mean, it's been doing great. I mean, the fan base it's huge. I mean, seems like the stadium's always packed when we're watching it on TV and stuff. So we're gonna try to make it out to a game next season. But
I'm praying.
I
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've been in North Carolina. It's a great place. So
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And the supporters are great. They've been great since the start. I mean, honestly, I think growing up in North Carolina and playing soccer or college soccer in Charlotte, you never really thought, that soccer was going to be this big here. And then they brought the team in, and the supporters have been electric since day one. Um, but yeah, you guys definitely got to make it down to a game. I mean, they make the atmosphere down there crazy. It definitely gives the players like an extra push, and that's why we're usually so good at home.
Yeah,
a pretty good record.
I was taken away I remember when they first announced that Charlotte was getting that team. And I was all for it from the get-go. I didn't think yeah, you weren't on the I didn't know that he was on the team yet.
You know.
And I was just like, oh, I'm a fan already. And then to come to find out how packed these games are, I'm like, wow, that's electric. We don't get that here in Chicago
Yeah, we're
anymore.
definitely missing that.
But I'm jealous, and yeah, hopefully next year is the year because I know Nick wants to go out there too.
Let's kind of bring it back to Chicago again. And so you're drafted 2017, your rookie season. I know that we got season tickets 2018. That was the first year Bastian Schweinsteiger, came to the league and played for the full season. But being a rookie in the league, who do you think was one of your biggest mentors to kind of help guide you and kind of teach you and just kind of show you the ropes of what you need to take care of?
I think Dax McCarty was, the biggest mentor. He was a really great leader. He was always like open to giving advice. I'm like trying to learn, trying to, survive in the league, right? See what it's all about, and make a name for myself. And him and Schweinsteiger were always, open to like helping out. They weren't like, oh, we're too good, like don't waste my time, like stuff like that. They were always like, yeah, please, like if you have any questions or need any advice, like if you want to grab a coffee and we can talk about, you know, what I think you need to do or anything like that. Like they were always just willing to help, which I was super appreciative of. And obviously both of them have or had great careers and are both great leaders. So it's kind of like they just led by example as well. And you just kind of watch these guys day to day, and it's like, okay, how can I consume as much as I can while I have my time with them?
Dax is a great guy.
Yeah,
We met it was actually the 2017 the playoff. Unfortunately, we lost. Me and him, we actually waited outside like the players' gate for like an hour, hoping to see some players come out. Like we didn't care. We're out there. Dax pulls up. He's like, "Hey guys, what's up?" He takes a couple pictures with us. And, I remember I'm like, "Hey man, how you doing?" He's like, could be better,
yeah.
but it was a good season." And then ever since then, man, I mean, we've just been a fan of him. And, seeing what he did this year in Atlanta for his last, season,
Yeah,
it's sad to see him not play anymore, but that guy was a heart and soul. I mean, he's,
19 years is, I mean, a really good soccer career.
yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And go ahead, man.
No, yeah, I'm chugging along here, buddy.
All right. So after Chicago left, you went to Charlotte. What do you think is your biggest memory or biggest moment right now in your career so far?
Biggest moment in my career. Man, I guess like besides like the move to Charlotte, I remember I guess like a special moment, like when we did Bastie's testimonial game over in Munich. I think it was 2019, and we got to like we spent like 4 days in Munich, and we got to play Bayern Munich in Allianz Arena, where Bastie played on Bayern in the first half, and then he moved over, or sorry, he played on Chicago in the first half, and then he went to Bayern in the second half, and I like subbed on when he left, went to Bayern to play for the Fire. So I was like, it was 80,000 people in that stadium, like all just like wanting to watch and celebrate Basti and his career. And we had the likes of like Frank Ribery and Lewandowski, Jerome Boateng, like they had like a lot of like class players. So I thought that was a really cool experience and one that I'll never forget.
And we were talking like, man, to be there at that game would have been never forgetful, like
It
we
was
were watching, I
crazy.
think we watched it together back at home, but just like watching the atmosphere, listening to it in
Yeah,
German to hear the actual like the announcers going crazy and stuff, just because they do so much better than they do out here. Um, but yeah, I mean that was a great game to watch. And then Bossy, I just remember at the end, like the guy was struggling. He was like It looked like he was struggling to run, and then they just kept forcing him the ball and trying to get him to score a goal, and then he finally got one at the end. But man, just watching him out there having a good time, and like, we're big Bayern Munich fans as well. I mean,
Okay.
so I mean that's like our probably our biggest team in Europe. So,
Oh, gotcha.
we've been following them for
Oh, gee,
a very long time. I mean, this guy he named his kid, Bastian after Schweinsteiger. So,
That's
that
awesome.
is true. That's very true.
That's awesome.
so I mean, yeah, I can't imagine being there and experiencing that, and just being able to play on that field in front of all those fans and seeing everyone going wild and doing it for Schweinsteiger. That's wow.
Yeah, it's something you don't even think is like possible. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah, that's very true.
Um, so what are obviously we kind of want to introduce you and who you are. We know that you have a big brand out there, BB13. Can you kind of just explain kind of how that started, kind of explain what it is and like just like anything about the brand so that way we can kind of tell our viewers and then maybe we can learn a bit more about it?
Yeah, BB13. We kind of just wanted to put, I guess, like a way to connect with Brandt Bronico. It's like a bridge almost between Brandt, like myself, and then the supporters and fans, right? So we coined like BB13 was my initials and my number. Um, and people that, support me, what I do, all that stuff, they can go to my website, purchase things, or reach out to me via my Instagram, like the BB13 collection, where I can usually it's me like messaging like directly back to them. So yeah, just something to like, I guess, give fans like a easier way to support a specific player, um, and kind of bridge that gap between like the athlete and the supporter.
Yeah, actually, I took a nice little scroll through the shop and I was scoping out some things. I'm like, this is really nice. You have some lovely merch. I was loving the was it the 8-bit like the cart the
Oh
not
yeah.
cartoon, like the video game character whatever it is like the
Yeah,
eight
yeah,
like
the
the old
8-bit.
school.
Yeah.
I'm like that's pretty awesome and all the holiday stuff. I'm like I gotta we're gonna definitely snag something from there. We have to.
Yeah, definitely. Christmas around the corner, and I already spent a lot of money on you. You keep going. Yeah, I was a little bit upset. I bought a jersey, and MLS store just canceled the order out of nowhere. So
Oh, dang,
I
really?
gotta,
Oh, that's
I
a
got
bummer,
one out
man.
of the two, but I gotta figure out how to get back and stuff. So, but I know you mentioned you do a lot of like charitable stuff and stuff around Charlotte itself. Is there any like big events that you have coming up this holiday season or anything next year that you're planning?
Um, Not this holiday season. Next year, well, I have like an annual fundraiser every year called the BB13 fundraiser, in partnership with a local charity in Charlotte called Beds for Kids. Um, and Beds for Kids is, uh, I guess, a charity that furnishes homes for, families that couldn't really afford them or in underprivileged areas. So we brought a lot of awareness to that, and we hold a fundraiser and try to raise money for them every year, so they can, ultimately give kids beds, but families that are able to get into homes, because I mean, it's really expensive to even try to find a home and finance that, or to find a place to rent, for your family, and then you got to worry about getting furniture in there. So it's like there's a lot to it, and it's like, hey, we can help this charity that's local in Charlotte, so help people around us that are in need, um, get into homes, because everybody needs a home. Like it's like a safe space, right? Um, so just try to do as much as I can for that. We'll have another fundraiser next year, TBD on the date and the details, but we have a great team behind BB13 that, they've every single year it's gotten better, and we've been able to raise more money. So I'm definitely really really proud of that.
Yeah, that's really good. Wow.
Yeah, I know next year we want to um, get more involved with fundraising, so
Yeah.
that could be
Hmm.
a big step there for
Yeah.
us to look into as well. Because I know
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
for me personally, I want to do more fundraising, doing stuff like that, get more involved like that.
Yeah, we just did an event. It was Kicks to Cure Cancer. Pretty
Oh,
much, we
sweet.
go out and we play foot golf, on a golf course, or whatever, and we pay money and all that stuff, and we donate, and it's a great time. And then there's raffle prizes and all that stuff. So, I mean, we just participated in it, but I'd like, for us to start getting involved more and, like helping out more. Cause I mean, the more help you can do, I mean, I see it every day with my work and stuff that, people need help.
Yeah.
It's kind of rough out there. So, I mean, all the time going different houses and stuff and seeing kids, like you said, that don't have beds, they don't have furniture and stuff. So, I mean, doing what you're doing is definitely admirable and, it feels good. So.
Yeah.
Um,
Anything else?
yeah, I mean, I got a whole
Yeah.
bunch here. So,
What, man?
um,
We just
so
talked to the big
obviously
boys.
I'm wearing a Miami jersey. I kind of became fans of them the past couple of years, obviously, but just gotta ask, man, how is it playing against Messi, Busquets, Alaba, and those stars over there, man?
Yeah, it's crazy because, obviously there's a lot of, I guess, like limelight behind them. Their careers have spoken for themselves. Um, but, they're as good as, you think they are, right? Sometimes you play against these guys and it's like, oh, like he's good, but I thought he'd be better. But no, those guys they are the truth. Messi is like, there's a reason why he's been the best player in the world. Like, I was like, wow, okay, this guy is actually as good as people say he is. And even like Busquets and Jordi Alba, there's a reason why they were at Barcelona and won so many things with them over so many years. But the first time we played against them, I think it was like 2023, and you're like, oh yeah, people are like, oh, you're gonna go play against Messi, and it's like, yeah, but like, this is the job, right? So you can't like, I'm not one really to get starstruck either. Um, but like you see him in the tunnel, and you're like, oh shoot, like there he is, and then you're walking out together, and you're just like, yeah, I gotta do my job today, and my job, I guess it has to do with stopping Messi, which on that day we did not do, but we did do it the next time we saw him. So take what you can get. There's only so much you can do to try and stop a player like that.
I mean, is it a different atmosphere when they're coming to your guys' home and
Oh
like
yeah,
have
it's
the
definitely
opposite
definitely
team?
different. They obviously feel more comfortable at their place.
Mhm.
But we feel like we can really beat anybody at our place, especially with the supporters behind us.
I mean, because you guys you tied them at the end of the season, right? Or was it,
Um,
what are the last few weeks of the season?
yeah, this year, yeah, we did tie 'em.
Because I know that they were pushing for
1-1.
yeah, I mean, that was a great game. I mean, they were pushing for the supporter shield, and then you guys were
Yeah,
pushing to secure your playoff spot and stuff. So
right,
we were
right.
like really started to root for you guys and like watch all your games and be, consistent with it. So, I mean, how did it feel just to be able to keep making those playoff push and then get into the playoffs this year? Unfortunately, it didn't turn out the way we wanted it because we want to see you guys go further, but
Yeah, I think it's like you look at it like I guess seasonally, and then over like year after year, and like since I've been here from the start, like it's like okay, we've gotten better. We did better than the year before, then we did better than the year before that. So it's like okay, we're making progress in the long run, and then even I think in the short run, I thought Dean did a great job with us this year. I mean, awesome coach, awesome guy, was great for the culture and the locker room, and I think just the club in general. And a lot of guys, if not everybody, like really bought into his style, which I think was like a main contributor to our success this season. And I thought we did hit like a hot streak kind of towards the end of the season where we were getting results, we were scoring goals, and it was like, oh, the Charlotte team's kind of for real. It's like everything we worked on, we kind of put it together towards the end of the season, kind of when it mattered the most, and was able to kind of secure that spot. Um, Orlando just had our number, man. I don't know what it was about it this year. But yeah, obviously we wanted to go further, and the toughest part is like we would have had, two home games leading up to the final if we had beaten Orlando, which I called the game at the end of the game. I don't know. Was it a penalty? Do referees call that? That's up for debate, but it is what it
oh,
is. And next year we want to strive for the Supporters Shield, and ultimately the MLS Cup.
Okay. Thank you for watching part one with our interview with Brandt Bronico. Please
watch the next video. Like, comment, and share. We'll see you on the next one.